Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Awesome Possum Classroom. Today, I'd like to read a story to you called Bees Feed Me. It's a kindergarten and first grade story. It is nonfiction, and we will have a mini lesson today on pollination. Let's start our lesson with some vocabulary. The first word I'd like to talk about is pollen. Pollen is a fine powder produced by certain plants when they reproduce. During the spring, summer, and fall seasons, pollen is picked up on pollinators and transferred to other plants to fertilize them. Our next vocabulary word is pollinators. We call animals or insects like bees that transfer pollens from one plant to another pollinators. Our last vocabulary word will be stigma. The part of a flower where pollen germinates or where it is produced is called the stigma. Why is it important for bees to pollinate? Bees are essential in growing flowers and plants. They use the process of pollination, where they transfer tiny little grains of pollen from the flower of one plant to another of the same kind of plant. Transferring the pollen helps the flower to continue to grow. Bees are called pollinators. Pollinators transfer pollen seeds from one flower to another, fertilizing the plant so it can grow and produce food. Without bees to spread pollen, many crops, including food crops, would die. Look at this diagram, pollination. Remember, pollination is where insects or animals transfer tiny little grains of pollen from the flower of one plant to another of the same kind of plant. We can see from this diagram that this bee landed on this flower here. When he landed, he picked up pollen. He's then moving to this other plant where the pollen will fall off into this plant, and he'll pick up more pollen from this plant to move to another plant. You can see the pollen is yellow and it's over here on the stigma. Remember, the stigma is where the pollen is made. Let's begin reading the story Bees Feed Me, written by Harriet Rosenblum. Bees are little, but they do a big job. Bees feed you and me. Without bees, we would not have apples. Look at the bee, boys and girls. He has his head inside the flower where he's picking up pollen. When he moves to another flower like this, he'll drop the pollen off in that flower and pick up more pollen. Without bees, we would not have carrots. Without bees, we would not have lemons. Without bees, we would not have cucumbers. Without bees, we would not have blueberries. Without bees, we would not have pumpkins. Bees help bring us some of our favorite foods. Thank you, bees. That's the end of our story, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed Bees Feed Me. Now I have a question to ask you. Do you remember the phrase that was repeated over and over again in the story? If you said, without bees, we would not have, you would be correct. That's the phrase that the author repeated over and over again. The author wanted you to learn the sight words we, would, not, and have. Let's look at a couple of questions for this story. What would happen to our food if there were no bees in the world? Well, we can use this phrase that was repeated over and over again in the story. Without bees, we would not have. This phrase will help you answer this question. So, what would happen to our food? Well, without bees, we would not have carrots or cucumbers. So, we would not have food if we did not have bees. Let's look at the next question. Bees are small flying insects that can sting. Is this statement a fact or an opinion, and how do you know? Well, in earlier videos, boys and girls, remember I said a fact is something that can be proven true. We can prove facts, but opinions are something that I may think or you may think and someone else doesn't think that way. So, let's ask ourselves a couple of questions. Are bees small flying insects? Yes. Can we prove they're small flying insects? Yes. Can bees sting? Have you ever been stung by a bee? I have. I know that that's a true statement. So if both of these are true statements, they must be what, boys and girls? They must be a fact. So this statement, bees are small flying insects that can sting, is a fact. Let's go to the next question. Why did the author write this book? Remember, boys and girls, authors write stories for three reasons: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. Inform means to give you information. Persuade means to try to make you buy something or do something. And to entertain means to simply make you laugh or cry. If it's a sad book, you're going to cry. If it's a happy book, you're going to laugh. So why did the author write this book? What was he trying to do? What was she trying to do? The story was about bees, so she was giving you information about bees. So this book was written to inform you. Quiz time. Let's take a quiz. Question number 1. Why did the author write this book? Was it to persuade, inform, or to entertain? If you said B, to inform, you are absolutely correct. Let's go to question number 2. Which of the following sentences states a fact about bees? A, bees help bring us many types of food. B, bees are the most interesting flying insects. Or C, bees should be our class pet. If you said A, bees help bring us many types of food, you are absolutely correct. Let's look at question number 3. What is the main idea of the story? A, there are many types of bees in the story. B, bees live in a hive. Or C, bees play an important role in making our food. If you said C, you're absolutely correct. Let's go to number 4. What would happen if bees stopped pollinating our plants? A, nothing would change. B, our plants would make better food. Or C, our plants would stop growing food. If you said C, our plants would stop growing food. You are absolutely correct. Let's look at question 5. Listen to this sentence. Bees are important insects for our world. The word world means a planet that is only home for bees. B, the earth and all of the people and things on it. Or C, the city in which we live. If you said B, the earth and all of the people and things on it, you are absolutely correct. That's the end of our story today, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed reading Bees Feed Me and learning about pollination. Thank you for reading along. Come back another day for a new story from the Awesome Possum Classroom. Bye-bye.